If you have ever been curious about what happens during and after a launch, today's episode is going to be for you. I'm going to go behind the scenes and talk about the launch that I finished in April of 2024 this year called Create Your WordPress Website, which was my first course for someone to design and set up their own self-hosted website. I'm going to share what I did for the launch, what the results were, and what happens after. If you want to hear all the behind the scenes, then stay tuned. Let's talk about your website. Is it feeling a bit neglected recently? Do you wish you had an action plan for how to get more clients and sales from the site itself? Or maybe you want to get help on starting to blog because you've been thinking about that for a while. I would love for you to join us in our upcoming free 4-day Fall in Love with Your Website challenge that is being held September 16th to 19th in our Facebook group. In this challenge, we're going to help you learn about what to do to revitalize your site so it reflects your business now. Let's make a clear plan for getting you to start a blog, run the blog, create posts, because we know that it's a really sustainable way to get your message out into the world, and it's a really good use of your time in terms of creating content. So in the challenge, we're going to have video lessons, office hours for questions, and a really handy Google workbook so you can take notes and get all the resources and information in there to help make your website work for your business. So this is a long game plan, using your site to create sales pages, landing pages, blog content, and more. Is it easy? Absolutely. Is it sexy? Maybe not, but it is fun. And I promise, even if you don't have tech skills, you can use your website to be a major tool for your business. So when do we all start? And what are we actually talking about here, Jessica? I have this free 4-day event for you. It is called Fall in Love with Your Website, and it's happening September 16th to 19th in our Facebook group. You can find all the details at jessicawangelin.com/challenge. There'll be 1 hour a day where I walk you through the power of what your website can do for you, how to create a dynamic website strategy, what you should do to have your website reflect your business now, how to create your blog plan, what you should update on your site this month, and perhaps a lot more fun things that we get to throw in there. I would love to see you there. I want you to have an amazing dynamic website that not only attracts new leads, but ultimately people who want to know you and buy from you. So come to the free challenge, check it out, learn, engage, connect with us, and we will see you in the group. Find all the details at jessicawangelin.com/challenge. Welcome to Motivated Online Business Marketing, the podcast where we talk about using strategies to promote your business your way. I'm your host, Jessica Wangelin, wife, mom, website designer, lover of all things DIY projects and natural living. I'm that ambitious mom friend next door who will inspire you to grow business that you love. On this show, we talk about marketing, content creation, website strategy, and productivity so you can make great things happen in your business today. Let's go. Okay, so let's talk about launch review. Who's excited to hear what this looks like from someone's perspective? Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what it looks like to actually do a public launch and all that. Now, I know there's tons of advice out there on, people's, all the social places, right? And people's websites and all the platforms about what launches are, how to do them well, how to review them and all of that. And most of the time, it seems like launching something is a big deal. It's like when you actually go and prepare a product, you go through all the promotion for it and everything that goes with it. So if you don't know what a launch is, generally in the online business world, a launch is referred to when you are putting a product or service out there in the marketplace. And generally, you're doing a full-on marketing plan that goes along with it. So you're doing a lot of communication, a lot of social media work, a lot of email messages. You're preparing the product on the back end and doing all of that. Now, there's, of course, like I said, a lot of different methods for how people actually go about launching things. Some people teach you how to pre-launch things. Some people teach you how to, pre-sell a course and things like that. So we're going to talk about what I launched, how it was, the process I went through, and what the results were for the actual launch itself. So if you don't know a lot about me, I'm a longtime blogger. I'm a website designer. I have this podcast, of course, to help small business owners, particularly people with an online business, to grow by having a really dynamic website, knowing what to do with that website, and being able to use it to market and promote your business. So I've done several years of website creation for clients and things like that. And I have a few other small digital products currently in my business. So when I say that this was a first launch for me, it really was because I went through a very specific process through a course that I purchased about how to launch a course. The other small digital products that I have were things that I put together and they just kind of showed up. I didn't really do the big whole hurrah kind of in launching things. A lot of those products in the past for me were things that I made particularly so that I could get customers, but also so that I could participate in bundles where I could grow my email list. So I made a couple things that I knew my clients needed, that people wanted, but also I made things that I was creating myself. So I have the DIY logo bundle, I had a Canva course, and things like that. So the course that I created this past spring and launched in April was called Create Your WordPress Website, which is a step-by-step exact process to set up a WordPress site. Even if you didn't know any tech, when you just wanted to get started with self-hosting, is the exact process I use to set up websites for my clients. So putting it in a course was a way for me to help people to DIY their websites because it walks you through setting up your domain, getting your hosting, and publishing your site on the WordPress platform. So obviously there are people that don't know how to do this. When I started my home decor blog back in 2009, I did not know how to do this either. It was different back then because we had Blogspot. So you would log in and like the only real features were to create blog posts. But then everybody started getting into WordPress and using all the features on there. And again, people don't know how to set that up per se. So the course was the process for doing that. I initially had an idea to create a strategy-based website course. After I did market research, and I've talked about that on the podcast before, I found out that people who answered the survey already had a website. They didn't really need a course on how to set it up. So the chances that they were going to benefit or purchase this course specifically were slim. But I found out that people didn't really know what to do with their websites or how to use them strategically for their businesses. So that strategy course that I'm doing, we're talking about two here. Number one, the Create Your WordPress Website course is how to set up your site. The strategy course that I have and I'm launching in June is about strategically using your site if you haven't updated it in a while, etc. So the launch review is about the Create Your WordPress Website course for setup. But regardless of what my market research said, well, not regardless, I absolutely love the information, but I went through and decided to actually create this intro type course for a few reasons. Number one, to have it in my offer suite for people who needed it. If I came across someone who I met in some way, and this has already happened, people don't know how to start or set up sites or want to switch platforms, that I can offer them this course as, a resource that they can learn from and use to set up their site. I also wanted to offer it to use as an upsell or a downsell in my whole offer suite sales environment and to have and start using it in some funnel setups. I also started the course, wanted to create it because I wanted to go through the practice of actually launching something for the first time and go through the course that I purchased to actually work through the course and, set it all up and go through all of that. So I wanted also to be able to automate the process of setting up a website for my clients, because now someone can actually then get access to this course and not have to hire me, for an example, at my VIP day rate to do this for them along with some other things. Because I really do truly believe in empowering small online business owners, particularly people that are new or really are doing this on the side and don't know how to get started, to do this on your own. I fully believe that is within your power and you should know how to set up your website, be able to log into it, know how to edit it. You should not have it in the hands of some agency and you don't know what's connected to where. So that's my belief in having an online presence for your business, to empower you to do that. So that's why I created the course, to have it in my offer suite, to use it in, say, my sales funnels, to automate the actual process so people could do it themselves. So in general, all that to say, I wasn't expecting many sales because I knew that my particular audience, at least the people who answered my market research survey, were not the audience that actually needed this particular type of course. But I wanted to get the experience of doing it and learn from it, of course, to go through all of the process. So let me talk for a moment about the course that I went through to learn how to set up my own course. And that is called Course Creator School by Gemma Bonham Carter. I've known about Gemma for years. We have some mutual friends in common. I just admire greatly what she does. We have very similar pathways, like business histories and things like that. And she has a program called Course Creator School that guides you through setting up your own online course and program. I purchased it in, I want to say fall 2022. I didn't really do much with it for about a year, but I put it on my planning and my calendar to actually walk through the course and launch my first program in a while. So her Course Creator School is very comprehensive. I'll put some information in it in the show notes. It's a really great program. She has a lot of things that go along with it, literally to help you step by step set up your course, launch it, and do all the fun that goes along with that. So that's the program that I went through to set up my course. Now, that's not required, of course, to be able to set up your own online course or program. You can completely do it yourself. A lot of people do that. I've created online kind of components of things by myself. You don't necessarily need to hire a coach, but I will say it's a huge, huge help. Like everybody says, if you don't know how to do something, you should invest in a way to learn how other people have done it so that you can go through that process and get to your success endpoint faster. So that's what Course Creator School was to me. And the great thing about it is I'm launching another course and probably will do things in the future. So I will continue to use those resources. So it was a really great investment to have for my business. So here's what I did for the launch of Create Your WordPress Website. I went through a 3-week pre-launch period. Usually 3 or 4 or more weeks is suggested to put your ideas out into the world, open your waitlist, and start to tell people about the program that you are creating. So the idea was to put out a lot of info. I did most of this communication by email. I did some posts on social media, some stories, and some Instagram posts and things like that. But the email was really the primary market audience that I wanted to use for this specific launch to go through that. So we did some pre-launch work. We did putting some ideas and information out there. I batched a lot of blog post writing and the podcast recording that went along with that at that time, and then went into creating a webinar to actually launch the course and have it available and open to the public with the cart open. So the offer itself was for the Create Your WordPress Website was 2 different pay tiers that were for the course itself. So the course, when I initially launched it in April 2024, was $197 to pay in full, or $347 for the VIP tier with office hours and some different bonuses included and such. So I will put the sales page in the show notes here so you can actually see what the course is about, and it is still available for you to enroll in anytime and learn about how to set up a site for yourself. So basically the idea was to transform your ideas into reality with a website course set up, designed just for someone who is at that specific place of their business. So for launch, we did, like I said, promo, we did all the things, and then we went to the webinar. So here's what happened with the webinar. When I went to present the webinar for that day, I had a multitude of tech problems that happened. The timing on the webinar did not match up. So it had said it was starting like an hour later than when I had scheduled it for. I had checked all the timing, I had checked all the time zones and all that, but something majorly went wrong. And so then when I went to do it, it wasn't very intuitive for me to get into the webinar itself. And it ended up being that nobody was actually on it. It didn't actually happen. So that was super frustrating in terms of the tech that I had used for it. I ended up emailing the company and asking them a litany of questions about why this went wrong, what to do, and how to fix it. And I am still following up with them about all those things. So you hear these things that happen. Unfortunately, it's just like major tech issues sometimes with course launches. So here's what I did when the webinar did not happen. I went and recorded the presentation in Canva because that's where I created it. So I did a present and record. I downloaded that video, uploaded it to my YouTube channel, unlisted, and I sent it out to all the people that had signed up for the webinar on my email list. So that was that. I then sent up some follow-up email about, the next day you can rewatch the webinar, the course is open, and all of the email sales sequences that went along with that. So that was super disappointing. What I ended up doing was, that was on a Tuesday. The following week then, I basically kind of relaunched the entire webinar again. So I picked Monday night, at like 8 p.m. Eastern my time. I figured when people might be around and working to have the webinar itself, because I wanted people to join live. I wanted there to be a live audience where we had questions and all that. So we had the webinar. That was great. I had I'll run through the numbers here. I had 6 people show up on the webinar and then several different email messages that went along with it. So we had the webinar. I had my first sale and only sale actually of the course the day after the webinar, and then the cart closed 3 days later. So here's some statistics about the course and how it went. So in summary, I had about 2,400 people on my email list going into this launch. I had 59 people sign up for the webinar. I had 6 webinar attendees. Over the entire pre-launch, through the webinar redo, then the sales sequence and the post-launch survey, I had 33 email messages sent out for all of those things combined, with about a 30% open rate for the email messages, which apparently is very good. So I was glad for that. In total, I had only 1 new customer from the entire launch who actually did purchase at the VIP tier, which was really great. So I made $347 from this entire launch process, and all that went along with it. So interestingly, though, enough, I had a person also purchase the course when I offered it as a pre-sale a couple months ago as a Black Friday offer, which at that time was kind of just an idea that I put out there to pre-sell something. And I thought if several people, of course, bought it, I was going to develop it. I had 1 person purchase back then. And I do offer the course to all of my full day VIP clients so that they know what to do with their WordPress. There's a lot of tech tutorials in there with their sites. And so I planned to, even though I only technically had 5 people in the course as students themselves, to actually build out the entire course, which I'm actually doing. So here's my reflections on this of getting 1 sale for an entire launch. I'm not at all discouraged by it. In fact, I was really excited to have this under my belt. I felt like I secretly entered the club for those who have launched, and now I can use what I learned and did to do more for my business. So the more I feel like I do it, the more fine-tuned I'll get with how it helps my audience, what they need, and then in turn, of course, bring more income into the sales products. So here's a couple of notes about the launch and how it went, just my own reflections and things. When I initially planned the calendar out, the pre-launch and the webinar were going to fall the week of Easter holiday and spring break here in the US. So I moved it forward a week so as to not be promoting basically when a lot of people here, at least in the US, were on vacation. So that's something to think about when you're planning out the weeks for a launch itself. Like I said, the webinar did not happen the first time. I had several problems with the tech. I ended up recording it and sending it out. I made the most of it, and I ended up redoing and having an encore webinar so I could have a live audience. And I did have questions, and I did have people, ask things, participate on the webinar. So that was really nice. The only sale I got was the day after the webinar. Someone signed up, and she did email me some questions and things like that. So that was great. I personally messaged 65 of my former branding clients to tell them about the webinar. So that was kind of a personal touch that I wanted to add on to my whole promotional calendar instead of just posting on social and praying that somebody was going to see it. I literally specifically emailed people, messaged people who I didn't know exactly if they had a website or if they were thinking about doing it, to tell them about the webinar. And I got a couple of people saying that, they were interested, etc. It was really just a personal way to get the information out there. I did the usual social posts, the Instagram banners, the Facebook page banners, cover images and things like that. And I did a total of 2 podcast episodes on it. In the future, for sure, I would be doing more when I have pre-launches. I created blog posts for all of the pre-launch big idea messages, and we'll use those to drive people to the webinar that I recorded, and that's the sale of the course. So it was really nice because those podcast episodes and blog posts will end up being kind of evergreen content for me that I can use immediately and be able to build out some funnels and things like that to lead people to the webinar that I did and have that be the start of a sales funnel. So I also had the webinar in a course in another coach's membership vault, which is really great. So that will drive some traffic to it as well, which is a really fun collaboration. And then I will be having office hours that were set up in the course. Even though I have technically only 1 student eligible for it, I'll work with that person to see and how, just so I can improve things, etc. I did send out a why didn't you purchase survey that went out just this week, the week after the course at that time. And I've already have great information for it. This was highly suggested to do after you have a launch, and to be able to tell people, ask them questions, why didn't you buy, etc. And the great thing about it is I was so happy about the people that replied to the survey. They were saying things like, oh, I have a similar course. Oh, I actually really need this, but I'm doing something else right now and I'll be in touch with you in a couple weeks. So people are listening, they're out there, and they are looking for what you have to offer. So that was really encouraging. So my reflections on doing this and having a launch: definitely get some kind of program or training or guidance on how to go through this process, from the setup to conceptualizing your course, creating the transformation that the course delivers, and all the things that go with it. A lot of people think that you really just start making course material to get training out there, but it is so much more than that, precursor to actually developing the course. So I very much suggest that you follow someone who is well known in course creation and, follow their advice about how to do this. It will save you so much time and so much frustration with it. I love the fact that I made a framework for my course. I am excited about doing those for future things. It took longer than average time for me to do the framework for the course, but I'm glad that I have it, and I'll be using those going forward. The sales emails that I made, I thought were very much a breeze, thanks to the templates provided in Course Creator School, which is really great. And I'm already, like I said, gathering information from the post-launch survey, which was great. So next up, I might put together a workshop on the topic and see if there are people who are interested in doing that, have it be very interactive, and see if people actually want to go through the planning process of setting up a website versus just doing the whole course, and pay, of course, quite a bit less for the workshop versus the course itself, for people to learn how to make their own site and all of that. So I will share the links for the course so you can see what it looks like, what the sales page and the checkout page looks like, and go behind the scenes and get all the details on what I did for the course. And of course, come and see the website where we share all the things that we have coming up very soon, including our next course launch for Sites That Shine. And if you are watching this after the time, of course, you can find everything on our website. I hope this very much helps you with your business planning, your launches, and all good things happening your way. Thank you. Do you have a website that is collecting dust, or maybe needs a makeover, or perhaps does not match you or your business at all anymore? Then I invite you to come to my free 35-minute training about how to create a dynamic website strategy. This masterclass will help you get excited about your website again. Here's what we cover: discover the power of what your website can do for you, craft your winning website strategy, get organized so you know what action steps to take after you watch the training, give you ideas for where to start with content, a 5-second hack for knowing how to organize your blog, and a list of must-have pages that every website should have, and next-level ones for even more advanced sites. I give you all of that at this free training at jessicawangelin.com/training. Please come find it, and I look forward to seeing all the dynamic and amazing things you do for your website today. Thanks so much for listening. So I can help create more shows that help you, I'd love it if you would left a rating and review of the show. And when you get a chance, hop over to my website, jessicawangelin.com, to read the blog and see all the things we have happening to help your business today. See you next time.